These are the moments where you have to let go. I like dismissive avoidance there, I said it. I worked with at-risk youth for 15 years and have seen where the attachments come from, and I've also helped people become more secure. But that's a unique opportunity that I had. But when I see comments from people saying that their avoidant ex has been silent for 6 months, a year, and some even share that their ex is now pregnant or married to someone else, whether they're trolling or telling the truth, here's the reality. These are the moments where you have to let go. If half a year has passed with no contact, no accountability, and no effort to change, you already have your answer. And if in that time they've started a family or tied the knot with someone else, that's not space. That's a new life they've chosen without you. You can't heal by standing at a door that's locked from the other side. 6 months of silence or a new life they built is your sign to stop waiting and start living.
Hello, 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 people. It's been a while. It's been a while. How you guys been? Let me know if you can hear me. Also, let me know where you're from. I want you to put some comments in the comment section if you have questions for me to answer. I'm giving you live free coaching right now. I just wanted to do obviously a reaction video to this short that I posted a couple days ago, where I feel like this is something that I see that's pretty common. I go on TikTok and I see all the time people saying something about how their avoidant has been gone for 6 months and three, just it's supposed to be funny, I'm sure. Like 8 years and no contact and nothing from them. What should I do? I'm like, all right, I don't know if you guys are actually trolling me or if this is something that you really feel is a reality, but whenever I see someone, I don't care if it's in whatever attachment style is, especially an avoidant, um, if they've been gone or they've remarried or they've gotten pregnant by someone else or they just started a new family, then I think it's pretty obvious that it's time to let that relationship go. But sometimes you have to say the obvious. You have to address the elephant in the room. But when you've gotten attached to someone, you kind of live in a little bit of a delusion. And I don't know if that's just wishful thinking or are you just living in that hope. The stages of grief. You're living in that hopeful stage of bliss. But I want you guys to let me know. Let's go line for line with this. Let me know what you guys think. Also, let me know where you guys are coming from. If you're coming from Facebook, please comment real quick. If you're from YouTube, because I'm streaming from both sides, and if you can hear me, also give me a thumbs up because I've had a lot of issues with the audio. Part of the reason why I just don't even bother doing live sessions anymore because sometimes the audio goes out and it's just really frustrating. It's a momentum killer, is what it is. I can't have a whole conversation with you guys when it's just continuously breaking up. Can you hear me on YouTube? Great. All right, let's break this down line for line. If you guys, I want to know who your favorite content creator is on here. I want to know who you listen to, who you go to for your not only your content as far as relationships, but who you listen to as far as attachment styles. Because I'm pretty in tune with a lot of people who are creating content on YouTube. And the reason I even asked you that is because I get so much conflicting information about certain people who listen to certain people. Adam Lane has blown up real big. And it's actually pretty cool to see him blow up so well. Some great branding going on there. Let's go line for line.
These are the moments where you have to let go. I like dismissive avoidance there, I said it. I worked with at-risk youth for 15 years and have seen where the attachments come from, and I've also helped people become more secure. But
That's a little bit of fun. This is a fun fact about me. I don't know if you guys ever visited my website, but I have that information in my bio. And that's another reason why I asked, who do you listen to as far as content? Because you want to check the receipts. Don't just go around just listening to any and everyone because they can make your situation worse. It can blow up in your face. And here's how it goes. We watch a video. The analytics tells us, all right, if you watch it for a long time, and it tells the analytics, hey, this is what this person is into. And we can go down this whole rabbit hole of someone being a dismissive avoidant or someone being whatever the case. And when they find the time to book a call with me or the finances or whatever it is that's holding them back to book a call with me, it's already too late. They've already subscribed to having this idea about a person. Hey Sarah, it's good to see you, Sarah. They already have this idea about a person like, oh, this person's an anxious attacher, or this person is this and that. And then we talk, and it's really hard for me to get, or they listen to someone else, or they even booked calls with someone else, and they were told, something different. And we get on a call, or they email me, and I start to see things different. I'm like, wait, this may not be an anxious attachment thing. This could be something different. Like this seems to be a little bit more cluster B-ish personality type deal. It's hard for them to believe that, and it's hard for them to stop all of the research or undo all the research in their train that has gone to anxious attachment or dismissive avoidantville, to think this person might be more bipolar, or this person might struggle with a degree of narcissism. So you have to, so this is why I say this: check the receipts of the people that you listen to. I mean, I've seen some really young attachment style coaches, and they could be prodigies, but at the same time, it's parroting a lot of things that other people can just go get from Chat GPT. And it kind of does, it seems disingenuous to me, because it's preying. I get a lot of people talking trash on my YouTube channel saying, you're just preying on people who struggle with relationships or breakups or heartache. And I'm like, when I first started this, I did this for free. The only reason I started charging for services is because, in order for me not to stop turning people away for coaching, I had to charge something to run a business. Right? And you get other people who I see, and it's a little bit unethical. I don't even know how I got on this. How did I get on this rabbit hole? I'm sorry, my bad. You used to listen to personal development school. You're on top though. I am a former DA, and you explain DA so well.
That's a unique opportunity that I had. But when I see comments from people saying that their avoidant ex has been silent for 6 months, a year, and some even share that their ex is now pregnant or married to someone else, whether they're trolling or telling the truth, here's the reality. These are the moments where you have to let go.
I know that's a hard pill to swallow, and I've had people book calls with me for clarity, wanting to know, hey, is this person going to come back? I mean, we can go all the way down a rabbit hole as to why this person isn't good for the person that they were talking to, why being with that person is not good for their health, and they will still ask at the end of the call, so what are the chances of me getting them back, or what's the chances of them coming back? But like I just said in this video, you have to let go at this time. I'm gonna tell you why. Statistically, I haven't seen it work out well when people do come back after they're in a relationship and they're cheating, and they're just kind of getting a little bit of validation from you. They're breadcrumbing you and leading you on. I tell you that it's more beneficial for you to just leave that person alone, because it's not gonna end well for you. Sure, you might get that short term dopamine and fulfillment from talking to this person and being reconnected to them, but over time, it's just not going to work out for you. I've seen it way too many times, I'm transparent. If you book a call and we don't come to a conclusion, I'll tell you, I may not need to speak to you again. I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, yeah, book a call next week, or come back next month, or buy my program, or I don't even have a course, or book my course. I don't even have a course. How about that's how you know that I'm like giving it all to, as far as like who I am as a human being, and not just running something passively.
If half a year has passed with no contact, no accountability, and no effort to change, you already have your answer. And if in that time they've started a family or tied the knot with someone else, that's not space. That's a new life they've chosen without you. You can't heal by standing at a door that's locked from the other side. 6 months of silence or a new life they built is your sign to stop waiting and start living.
All right, so you guys got questions for me? I don't like to waste time. You know that. I like to get to it and cut the fat. One of the top though, I am former DA, and you explain DA so well. It's because I take the time to really listen and understand dismissive avoidance. And this is why in the beginning of the video, all right, I like DAs, because I do. I like everyone. And I've built my whole brand on being the bridge for someone that's standing in the gap between someone who's a fearful and or dismissive avoidant, or an anxious attacher, and really just try to help people with the discernment. I have people I'm working with right now where we're on a we text every day, because they constantly have to challenge themselves into understanding if the way that they're operating is their intuition or a trauma trigger. So I pretty much have, if you reach out to me and I'm like preoccupied, I apologize. That's usually what's going on, and plus my kids are on summer vacation, so there's that too. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, and I appreciate you guys dropping stuff in the chat and letting me know where you're coming from, where you're watching from. If you guys ever have any questions, I see all your comments on YouTube. If they're nice, I'll respond. If they're not, I'll just take it as some troll. So former DAs who now want more close connection. Yeah, that's I don't know if you guys realize or not. I have a test on my website. You can go take the test and it'll kind of let you know where you're at as far as like the spectrum of attachment style, because it's always a spectrum. And if I see that um, someone is actually understanding that, hey, I used to be a DA, you have all four attachment styles in you, right? You have secure. If you guys aren't familiar with attachment styles and you just enter in the chat, secure attachment, dismissive avoidant, fearful avoidant, anxious attachment. You have all four in you. With throughout each relationship that you have, all of your relationship experiences, your friendships, your romantic relationships, that changes. It changes because the way that the other person is showing up in that relationship could push you to another quadrant of the other attachment style. I was just talking to a guy yesterday. He's like, it doesn't make any sense because I'm secure in all my previous relationships, but this one person was showing up as a dismissive avoidant and it turned him anxious. I say it's because it's like attachment style is like a tug of war, you know, and you're the beginning of the race was when you were a kid, and depending on how you got placed in that race, you're going to be behind the curve on a lot of other people who showed up, who had secure parents and helped them become more secure. So when you get into this relationship and you're confident, the person's more anxious, they're in love with you, you could be secure. I call that, if you're an anxious attacher, I was literally talking to this guy about it. I said, you probably thought you were secure in a relationship because you had a false sense of secureness, meaning that person was meeting all your needs and showing up the way that you needed them to show up. But the instant that they started to show up not as available. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Hopefully. The instant that they started showing up not as securely, more avoidant, that's when you got triggered, and that's when you started to pull the rope more towards you, and it's almost like a panic. So don't get too comfortable. And I had a guy ask me, how did I become more secure? Because he's looking for some tools and some resources on becoming secure. And I told him, I don't have for 1 minute I don't for 1 minute think that I'm a completely secure person, because I still have things that pop up. I still have triggers. I understand my triggers, and I understand how to stop that train from going too far and going down a rabbit hole of just rumination and um, becoming insecure again. So it's going to be a constant battle, and it's even more difficult to two things: do it by yourself or to do it alone. Because I believe all attachment styles should be healed within a relationship. You can't say I want to become a more secure person and then take 2 years off from dating. It's just not going to work that way. You've become good at avoiding relationships, but you haven't become good at learning the skills and going through the friction that you need to go through in a relationship to become more secure. You know, when your fight or flight gets triggered, you have to be in a relationship to actually make that happen, right? Unless you're just having a bunch of little flings and little things that you don't think is going to go too far, but then that might make you more of an avoidant. Any questions? I'm answering right here, and then I got to take off. But I appreciate you guys for being here. Like I said, Faith, how long you been following me? I'm curious. Do you talk to DAs who are socially isolated and how to come? All right, let me answer that one. It's a good one. Socially isolated and how to come out of that. I do. I have. I've talked to, I'm gonna be honest. I talked to people who were, virgins. I talked to people who were um, just kind of workaholics, and then they got into that stage of their life where they wanted a relationship, and by that time they had already their relationship muscle had atrophied by that time. How do I get them to come out of that? More exposure. Um, Usually, when dismissive avoidance reach out to me, it's because they finally gotten to the point where they realize something's a problem. There's an issue, and they've had a bunch of different people who were good partners or could have been good partners. You see a pattern. They had partners who immediately got married to the next person that they were in a relationship with, or maybe not immediately, but they didn't go through another relationship after they broke up with the dismissive avoidance. So they started to wonder, they started to see the pictures being posted, the pregnancy bumps and all those things. They're like, wait a minute, I think I really did care about that person. And at that time it's too late. And then they wonder, what's wrong with me? Why am I the one that always gets left for someone else? Maybe 1 or 2 years. Or formatives who now want more close connections. Maybe 1 or 2 years, definitely a year. All right, so I'm having a hard time following that one. Faith, I'm sorry. How does it work when two anxious attachers get together? What I start to see is the relationship either becomes very tumultuous, which means there's a lot of mistrust in that relationship, a lot of insecurities. You start to see more controlling behaviors. They might go tit for tat. And honestly, this is the scenario where I see a lot more cheating happening, especially if a person becomes more. It depends on if the relationship's toxic, then or toxic meaning they talk disrespectfully to each other, they cheat on each other, they just don't respect each other. You know, that's when I started to see one person either leave for another person because that's pretty much 90% of the time that's how it happens. They end up finding someone else and then leaving for that other person and rebounding, or one of the people turn more avoidant in that relationship and just gets tired of the rigmarole or the roller coaster that's going on. I was talking to a guy. I said, um, there should only be one room. There should be, if any, there should only be room for one anxious person in that relationship because the other person has to be more secure in order for it to become functional and become healthy. So unless that happens, unless someone starts to do a deep dive and say, "Hey, what's going on with me?" Okay, I stand corrected. Because I just thought about a scenario where one of them people in the relationship that are two anxious people, one are going to become more secure, and they're not going to be attracted to the anxious person anymore. That's something that I've seen happen within the past year, where they felt like I just want to take the time to be alone, and I got into this relationship because I felt like I needed to be with someone, and now that I know that I don't need to, I just don't want this relationship anymore. And then they start searching for secure people. Ouch. What I say, Sarah? All right, guys, I got to roll, but it was good to catch up with you. It's been a while. I'm sorry it's been a while. I forgot how to do these live sessions, but I got to get back on the bike and knock the dust off, knock the rust off. All right, guys, I appreciate you. And always remember, when you go and be loved, you'll never have to find it. God bless.